Hello and welcome to Therapy Express with Rosanna. Thank you so much for watching. Today we are going to talk about rejection. And rejection is something that affects all of us, has affected all of us at one time or another. And it stings, it hurts, and it is one of the biggest causes for depression. But today I'm going to give you another perspective, another way to look at rejection that maybe you're going to think, maybe it's not that bad. So if we looked at rejection instead of being the enemy, but look at it as being our friend, and I'm going to explain that in a second, it will change our whole perspective about what happens when we are truly rejected. We have all been rejected. You probably have. I know I have. It could have been something at work. You got rejected for a promotion that you wanted. Maybe some of your friends all went out together and didn't invite you. Maybe the person that you're interested in just disappeared from your life. Or maybe you had the doozy of doozies, mother or father who rejected you and just was never involved in your life. Those are all rejections, and if we take them personally, we will suffer a great deal. But I'm going to offer you another way to look at those, two ways to look at rejection that maybe will give you a sense of peace. Now, rejection can make us doubt ourselves. It can make us question things that we do, and that seed is planted inside of us can cause a lot of misery. But I want to share with you two ways in which we can view rejection that, if we reframe it, can make us feel better, as I said earlier. The first one is to look at rejection as projection. Remember, projection is when somebody else feels one way, they're seeing you from their lens, from their experiences, and it may have nothing to do with you. I remember one of my earliest times when I was rejected, and boy, did that hurt me. I was 13 years old, and it was during PE in high school, and they had to pick teams, and they picked two captains, and the captains had to choose a girl for each of their teams. Well, I waited as they chose one girl after another, and they didn't choose me. As each girl kept getting chosen, and I was now noticing that I was going to be the last one, I felt this small. I felt terrible, and I took it personally. But looking back at that time right now, it was a projection on the captain's point of view, because they were seeing me as a little Hispanic girl that probably didn't know how to play the game softball. And they were seeing me as someone who couldn't play because maybe I didn't look athletic enough. And it was their projection. It wasn't anything against me, because guess what? They didn't know who I was. I was new to the school, and they formed their own opinions about me before even knowing who I was. But still, it hurt. Looking back, though, and realizing that it was their projection, that it wasn't anything about me, makes me feel better now. And I understand that for any other rejection that could come up in my life at this time, or for anybody else. If that has happened to you, remember, the projection is the psychological inner turmoil of somebody else, and typically it has nothing to do with who you are as a person. The second one is to view rejection as a way of protection. When I was about 25 years old, I fell in love, or so I thought, with this guy who was 10 years older than I was, and I thought he was the greatest thing in the world. But what did I know at 25? Zero. He gave me some little signs about who he was, a Vietnam vet, and a few other things that at that time, as a 25-year-old, it didn't register. Because all I could see was this amazing guy who played the guitar and could sing, and I said, oh my God, what a dreamy person. But he rejected me and disappeared. He ghosted me. completely disappeared from my life. I was devastated. And I'm telling you, I suffered and cried for months, even probably up to a year or more. But guess what? Now that I look back, as the age I am now, full-grown adult who has a lot more information, I look back on it now. He was a Vietnam vet who had PTSD, had a lot of issues. He had told me he had been arrested for hitting his wife and said, I didn't do it, and told me a lot of things. He didn't have a car. There was a lot of weird things going on that I couldn't see back then. But now that I look back, his disappearance basically saved my life in terms of being in a relationship with a good person. And I've been married now for almost 33 years with a perfect person, and that wouldn't have happened if I perhaps had gotten involved with that person. So at that time, I thought it was the worst rejection I could have experienced. But you know what? It wasn't. It was protection for me, and I didn't know it. I encourage you to look back now at all the times that you have been rejected and reframe it. Try to see if you can reframe it. Was it a projection on the person's part? Was it a protection that you didn't know at the time that it was, but now looking back, you think, oh my gosh, I think it was a way to protect me and I didn't know it yet. We have to stop viewing rejection as a very negative and humiliating thing, and maybe see it as a potential for growth, as a potential for us to try something new in our lives that perhaps we wouldn't try if we hadn't been rejected by this particular person or establishment or what have you. I mean, Walt Disney, for crying out loud, was fired from the Kansas City Star in 1919 because he lacked imagination. Imagine that. Steve Jobs was fired from his own company. If he hadn't been rejected, who knows if we would have not had Apple now and how huge that is. Oprah was rejected and fired from her jobs. So these people have been amazing successes, and maybe it was because of their rejection. Maybe that got them fired up and said, you know what? I'm not stopping there. I'm going to do something with my life. So don't let rejection make you doubt yourself, make you question who you are in this life, because you're amazing. Just use rejection as an impetus to go forward, to try something new, and maybe that new thing was the best thing for you. And it was their projection or your protection, and now you can be a better person for it. So think about that next time you feel that sting of rejection, and try to reframe it so that it doesn't affect you as much as it normally would. Okay? All right. I hope this is helpful. I know this is really helpful to me, and I want to share anything that I find informative or something that can help me in my life. I want to share that with you. So that's it for today. I encourage you to reframe these. And before we go, we're going to pick the winner for the final giveaway, you guys. Thank you for having participated in this giveaway. All the 12 other winners that have received my book. I hope that you've enjoyed it. And if you have not won, I'm sorry. But you can get my book, The Healing Alphabet, on Amazon. Okay? It's not gone forever. But for today, we're going to pick a winner. And I hope that whoever gets it is probably the one who deserves it. All right, you guys. But everybody's going to deserve it. So you can go to Amazon and buy it if you don't get it, okay? All right. All right, here we go. Here we go. Okay. We got one. All right, you guys. All right. And the winner is Sandra Mercado. So Sandra, I know you've been in this basket for a long time. I'm glad that you are going to get my book. Enjoy it when you do get it. And that's all I've got to say today. Just remember to subscribe, turn on your notifications, and look for me next week. Until then, make every moment count. Bye.